conspiracy theorists have a new backer, a man who once played Jesus. Actor Jim Caviezel pushing
QAnon theories that can only be described as flat out crazy.
Hey Brianna, yeah,
Crazy
certainly is the word for it. And what we've seen here really is that even with Trump out of the White House, conspiracy theories are continuing to grip the United States.
These
Crazy.
conspiracy theories have real consequences. Absolutely, they're so obviously just
absolutely nuts.
but there is an audience for it, and you could potentially make a buck off it too. It's unbelievable to see at this.
It's sickening, I have to say.
So much for that report. Great work. Terrific work as always.
Today's video, we're going to be reviewing some of the response that the movie Sound of Freedom has gotten so far. This has been a whole total uplifting of the so-called people who identify with the right. They're all pumped off it. They're all aligned with stopping child trafficking and fuck pedophilia, which is awesome, and I'm total in agreement with. Then there's the other side, which is writing these articles like Rolling Stone. And it's not just little people that are doing this. It's like big establishment fucking news corporations like Rolling Stone. It was Washington Post. It was CNN. It was more of them. I'll show you in this video. Just putting Sound of Freedom, QAnon, putting it all in the titles of their articles or their newscasts, and putting it all in the article as well. So just aligning this whole movie with QAnon. And when you already know how bad of a rep QAnon is, well, QAnon was fucking crazy. And so it's just sickening that they're doing that. And they just even give it like personal attacks to the guy, Tim Ballard, and they attack his credibility, saying that he was not even like a good... I'll show you some of the stuff they said here. It's made me fucking so angry that these people could be so lost in this whole ideology of the left versus right that even when a movie comes out that is, you know, putting good shit in the world and it's created by a guy who's done amazing things, that people can still come out against it. And when they're coming out against it, what are they coming out against? Pedophilia and fucking child trafficking? Like, do you really want to be known for that? I mean, is this where our world's taking us? I don't know, but let's get into it. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let's get into it.
Sorry, I can't believe it. I'm sorry. I just, it's they just keep getting more and more bonkers.
That's right. It just speaks to, there are a lot of people who believe it. You know, there are so many, and there are people who you would think would not believe it who do. It's really an epidemic.
There are people who know better and need to know better at this point.
All right, so here are some of the articles that came out over the weekend. We have Vice with the anti-trafficking group with long history of false claims gets its Hollywood moment. Here's the article from the Washington Post. Sound of Freedom is a box office hit whose star embraces QAnon. The low-budget film about child sex trafficking almost topped the box office on July 4th, but its star Jim Caviezel has linked it to the QAnon movement. Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. The QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer by Miles Klee on July 7th. Ballard himself has dabbled into Q-adjacent conspiracy theories, such as the Wayfair trafficking hoax. While his organization has far-right affinities and a long record of distorting its botched raids, which rely on bizarre tactics like asking psychics where to find victims to rescue, Ballard, Caviezel, and others of their ilk had primed the public to accept The Sound of Freedom as a documentary rather than the delusion by fermenting moral panic for years over this grossly exaggerated epidemic of child sex trafficking. Much of it funneling people into the conspiratist rabbit holes and QAnon communities. In short, I was at the movies with people who were there to see their worst fears confirmed. Apart from its relentless messaging, the movie is hollowed by a near-total absence of procedural logic. That original rescue is only possible because Ballard is standing at the exact right spot of a U.S.-Mexico border station at the very moment his target tries to cross. Lucky. Alright, so, lucky. So he claims that he got lucky. It's like, dude, you fucking dickhead. Cocksucking motherfucker. Alright, sorry. Sorry. But, Lucky earlier Ballard convinces an imprisoned child porn peddler facing a sentence of 30 years to help him contact traffickers in exchange for an immunity deal, needlessly posing as a pedophile himself to gain trust. There is a visible suffering all around us in America. There are poor and unhoused, and people brutalized or killed by police. There are mass shootings, lack of health care, climate disasters, and yet, over and over, the far right turns to these sordid fantasies about godless monsters hurting children. Now, as in the 1980s satanic panic, they won't even face the fact that most kids who suffer sexual abuse are harmed not by a shadowy cabal of strangers, but at the hands of a family member. To know thousands of adults who will absorb Sound of Freedom, this vigilante fever dream, and come away thinking themselves better informed on a hidden civilizational crisis. Well, it's profoundly depressing. Worse still, they still want to spread the word. There's so many things in that article right there that just blew my mind. I only read 3 paragraphs because it's all I could take. But, yeah, Miles Klee is the guy's name. Go find it on the Rolling Stone. I just couldn't believe the part where he says, oh, Lucky, he just happened to be on the border at the right place at the right time. Well, it's like, hey, bud, that's his fucking job to be there. And you know how hard it is? It's like picking a needle out of a fucking haystack. And you're like, oh, Lucky, you just happened to found him. It's like, Miles Klee, what the fuck have you done for the betterment of humanity? I don't think you've done real good, man, because obviously you're like on the side of this pedophile weird shit, so you're probably a fucking freak. Anyways, they like want to act like this shit's not real. Here's a bunch of examples of exactly how real this shit is.
The miracle child. A machete was sliced through Alan's head and neck in an attempt to behead him. He was also castrated. The work of witch doctors, attempting child sacrifice. Child sacrifice, a juju ritual, was rare here until 3 years ago, when it re-emerged, coinciding with a boom in Uganda's economy. It's widely believed that some members of the new elite are paying witch doctors vast sums of money for an ancient practice, in the belief it'll bring them greater wealth and good health. But these people do not sacrifice their own children. In the villages that surround the capital Kampala, I hear horrific stories. This is where you found the body. Tepenesi found the decapitated body of her 6-year-old grandson, Stephen. He'd been missing for 24 hours. The local witch doctor admitted to sacrificing Stephen. Tepenesi told me that the police didn't want to investigate.
They offered me money to keep quiet.
She refused the offer. Posing as businessmen, we asked around for a witch doctor who could bring success to our local construction project. We were introduced to this man, Awali. During the first meeting, Awali sacrificed a goat to bring luck to the business. A few days later, we were invited back to his shrine to discuss what he regards as the most powerful spell, child sacrifice.
There are 2 ways of doing this. We can bury the child alive on your construction site, or we cut the child and put their blood in a bottle of spiritual medicine. If it's a male, the whole head is cut off, and his genitals. We will dig a hole at your construction site and bury the feet and the hands.
Conspiracy theorists have a new backer, a man who once played Jesus. Actor Jim Caviezel pushing
QAnon theories that can only be described as flat out crazy.
Hey, Brianna, yeah,
Crazy.
certainly is the word for it. And what we've seen here really is that even with Trump out of the White House, conspiracy theories are continuing to grip the United States. These
Crazy.
conspiracy theories have real consequences.
Absolutely. They're so obviously just
Absolutely nuts.